Dr. Elmer, Advanced Neurospinal Solutions. The question is, what is sciatica? Excellent question. And we've been dealing with that for the last 22 years, and it's a plague in our world. But here's the other thing, because it's so misunderstood that it's often misdiagnosed. And so we're going to talk about not just sciatica, but we're going to talk about the difference between sciatica and sacroiliitis, because very often it gets misdiagnosed, and in that, oftentimes the wrong surgery is done, which is kind of sad. So, sciatica is a pressure on a nerve root that's coming out of your back. Now, if we look at the spine here, we've got these little holes here called intervertebral foramen, which means they're holes in between the vertebra, and this is where the nerves come out here. Now the spinal cord ends at L1, L2 here, and so in beyond that, it's just the nerves are extending down below that spinal cord, and they come out on the sides here, and they go down and into a mesh network called the lumbosacral plexus, and as they go down, they kind of interweave and create different parts of different nerves. And one of those nerves, the big one, is the sciatic nerve. Now, the sciatic nerve is interesting in that it has certain characteristics, but it also doesn't have other characteristics. And it goes certain places and it doesn't go other places. And so in looking at the sciatic nerve, and here we go, here we have this big one here, this big thick one, it goes all the way down here. That's the sciatic nerve, and it divides up, and it starts to do funky things below the knee. Okay? And so in terms of what is sciatica, like I said, it's pressure on those nerves. Often it's by a disc. Sometimes you've got what we call osteophytes, which means these little spurs that are sticking out from the joint. And we've talked about this many times. We've talked about the shape of the disc, the size of that hole that comes out is determined mostly by how big that disc is. The more you lose that disc, the more the hole gets smaller. And as that hole gets smaller, it can start to put pressure on that nerve, or torque that nerve, or stretch that nerve. And that's when you start to get those symptoms. Well, the symptoms in sciatica have to happen below the knee, but more importantly, I'm always looking for stuff to happen in the feet and toes in that, because so often patients come in and say, I've got sciatica, and I ask them where the pain is, and they'll say, it's in my butt and thigh, and say, that's not sciatica. The sciatic nerve is going to have pain below the knee and into the foot, and often in the toes. And so I'm looking for those symptoms instead. The sciatic nerve, it comes out, these sciatic nerves come out around the sacroiliac area, the sacroiliac nerve. And the sacroiliac nerve contributes nerves that go into your thigh, and they're broad. All the skin of your thigh is covered by the sacroiliac nerve. And so if you're having pain in the thigh, it's on the surface there, or let's say you feel it and it feels numb, and that is not the sciatic nerve. It can't. Sciatic nerve goes farther down. Now, can you have pain in the sciatic nerve because the sciatic nerve is sick? Yeah, but it'll feel like a hot wire or a painful wire deep inside your thigh, not that surface pain or broad-based pain, in the thigh. And I've seen many cases of patients that come in and they're scheduled for surgery, and they say, yeah, they're going to do surgery on my back, and yeah, okay, they've got they've got an MRI that shows they got a disc herniation and all that. And I say, well, yeah, where are the symptoms? And they tell me where they are. And I say that disc herniation is not causing those symptoms. You need to know that, because they're going to do the surgery and it's not going to fix those symptoms. And then you're going to wonder why. Well, that sacroiliac area is, in fact, I had one patient where we looked at it, we did x-rays and that, and I adjusted his pelvis, which adjusted the sacroiliac joint, and immediately his symptoms were gone. I didn't even touch his lumbars at all yet. And he said, hey, can I borrow your phone? He went over and canceled his surgery. The surgery was the wrong surgery in the wrong place. In fact, he didn't need surgery. Normally, sciatica can be helped without surgery. There are about 2% of the cases that are going to need it. Now, I don't have any problem with that. The AHCPR guidelines that the government came up with, they studied to determine, what really helps in back pain, and they found that there were 3 things: over-the-counter medications, therapeutic exercise, and manipulative therapy. That surgery only helped 2% of the time. Now, what my comment is, hey, when it's that 2%, it's radical shift after the surgery, man. Things are so different. It's really cool, but so many people are going in and getting surgeries when they would have been more benefited by actually building up that lower back, getting it to function the way it was supposed to function, instead of having just a piece clipped out. But the mechanics are a problem, and now we have scar tissue and other issues. Surgery disconnects the nervous system from the area when you cut it. So, and did we get the kind of rehab to bring it back? And they're not. The insurance companies aren't providing anything for rehab anymore. And the key to a good surgery, in my professional opinion, is the rehab. The better the rehab, the better the surgery. You could have a moderately good surgery and a great rehab, and you had a great surgery. You could have a great surgery and a horrible rehab. You had a really bad surgery, even though it was a great surgery. So hopefully that was helpful. In sciatica, true sciatica, we need to change the shape of those discs. We need to not only open them up, but more importantly, put those wedge shapes in. When we put the wedge shapes in, that center core tends to go forward rather than back. So even though you've got that herniation sticking out in the back, the pressure tends to go forward once you get that. And once you get that, it's so amazing, because that's one of the secrets of getting the results we get in this office is, once you get that, automatically when you stand up and you've got that wedge, it always goes forward rather than back. And that's an exciting time. And that what I notice is that the patient's symptoms are not only less, but they'll note that I used to be way worse in the evening, right? And I say, well, yeah, that happens because we're crushing down the disc and we haven't established the shape of that disc yet to where it always goes out the front. And once we hit that, it doesn't hurt in the evening anymore. We've gotten the shape of the disc and the fluid in the disc to support that shape, to the point that even though we're losing disc height, which we always do every day because of gravity, that it's not enough. We have a margin for error, that it's not enough to put pressure on that disc and push it out the back to create the symptoms. And so that's a red letter day when the patient says that. So hopefully that gives an idea. We went a lot of different areas with that, but like I say, you can see that the more clear you understand the problem, the simpler the solution. Right? If you have any other questions, please let us know. I'd love to do these videos, and remember, we're here when you're ready to take your life back.